Hey, what is up, guys? It's your boy Ricky P, back with another heater. I got today the best deck in the format. At least I think it's the best deck. I don't know many other ones that are better than this. Today, we're gonna run a league of Reanimator. I'm gonna make some mistakes along the way, and you're gonna figure out how to play better. But in the meantime, we're gonna slap some people in the face with Gristlebrand. He's a big boy. I got some new arts on my account. I don't know if you guys have seen this. Got the latest and greatest of everything. Got the grief. I like this artwork now. Got this Gristlebrand. I like this artwork now. This is pretty much what I play in paper, except for this. I like the swamp because it's purple. That's about all I got. Let's start the video. So I'm gonna be doing something a little bit different. I'm gonna do a VOD review, which a lot of people do this in other games. I'm gonna do it here in MTGO, which is kind of a potato. So they gotta have to work with me, but I find that it helps me play better. I like the VOD review. I'm immediately gonna fuck it up though. Have to pause this. But the basic gist is we're just gonna go action by action and see what we could have done better. I'm gonna start out on the play. We're gonna keep this hand, obviously. Hand's a banger. So right away we're presented with a myriad options. Right away, I'm gonna show my ace in the hole. I got new technologies, bitches. Woo! New tech. That's right. Anyway, our opponent's down to 6 cards, which is super important. You're gonna hear me mention cards in hand a lot because for our combo deck, that's kind of what we're gonna be looking for. Kind of the most important thing. We have no payoffs here. We got 3 discard effects. We got 1 enabler, and we got 2 payoffs between Exhume and Animate Dead. So we're kind of rolled up. We got nowhere to go. In situations like this, I think it's good to run out Thoughtseize, bring them down to 5 cards, and then Faithless Loot for that land. Thoughtseize loses to a bunch of things. If we just Thoughtseize, then we're going to have to run this out. We're going to have to fetch a Badlands so that we can play both of our spells. Which leaves us open to Wasteland. So you can use Grief and Unmask to check the way, right? And then we're probably going to Faithless Loot into hopefully a land and a creature. But if that doesn't happen, obviously not looking too good for the home team. But that's why we lead on Thoughtseize instead of Faithless Looting. Like, give us an opportunity to draw into something, and then we'll bin everything, and then we'll go see how that plays out. Deal it to Badlands. Boom. All right, so our opponent shows that he's Doomsday, which is terrifying. I think the clear choice here is Personal Tutor, which just searches for Doomsday. Otherwise, he's sitting on nothing. The rest is also super annoying. There is no Wasteland, so we are clear to Grief and Unmask here. Oop, that looks like a little. And then do that, take that. We leave him with Force Petal and Street Wraith, and that seems pretty good. I think that's probably our best. We take personal tutor. A grief pitching, animate dead here, so that leaves us open a little bit more with Faithless Looting. I suppose we only need 1 pay. Them cycling Street Wraith into me keeping Exhume is a little bit of a misplay here. The Street Wraith has Swamp Walk, which is oddly relevant in this matchup. There, we know those 2 cards in our opponent's hand. If they counter Faithless Looting, that sucks. We do have to be weary of Daze getting blown out by days. If I don't play the land here, I definitely should have played the land. There we go. Yeah, play out the land. Don't get blown out by days. So casting Faithless, we're going to draw 2, discard 2, which means Unmask is probably going to be discarded here. Play Cycle, looking for a blue card. Hit it. We didn't get a payoff. Definitely been in the land. Probably the Exhume at this point. Still didn't bend the Exhume, which is totally the wrong thing to do. That probably means that we lose. Yeah, reanimate sucks. We can reanimate that Street Wraith. Like that's the play. Questioned myself a couple of times. Reanimating Street Wraith at this point for us doesn't do much. Their life total doesn't really matter. They can lose via Archon of Cruelty, like if we get them down that low, but the odds of getting them down to like 6. Our opponent's just loading up on cards. They have 4 cards now. We have 2. So if we draw a Gristlebrand, we'll just unmask targeting ourselves. I opt to unmask them. Seems like a bad play. Also, they reveal Force Days. We're totes boned. We would boned. Also, if we drew a land, better. They have a Doomsday pile. It's going to be a slow Doomsday. Doomsday, maybe, right? I don't know. We'll see how good our opponent. But it should be pretty easy. But yeah, keeping that unmasked wouldn't have mattered. But if this, let's say Meyer were an Archon of Cruelty, and they were put down to 1 life, that would be good. Zooming Grief doesn't do anything. Game's pretty much over. They can't technically force anything. They're not going to force. Ideas Unbound is kind of cute. I like Ideas Unbound. Yep, and then they just win. Boop. And just like that, we just lost to a fast combo deck. That's what it feels like, and it sucks. Let's go ahead and hit up the sideboard. I gotta tell you guys, behind the scenes, like 90% of what I'm doing is just playing with this. Anyway, back to the thing that we're all here for. So we're bringing out these 4 cards. Archons, they're a little bit slow. Straight up, they don't do much. We're bringing in 2 Chancellors. We're bringing out also a Thoughtseize and a Sarah's Emissary. Sarah's Emissary literally does nothing. This is not a silver bullet for anything in the match because they're winning via Thoracle. Thoughtseize is just the final card to take out. Silence is our make it or break it card. Chancellor of the Annex is good early, but bad late. It's also good in your opener, but is also bad late game. So kind of back to that Chancellor of the Annex kind of tension with that card, that innate tension. This 7's pretty good. Going places. If you wanted to toss it, I could see why. I don't know if I kept or tossed. Thoughtseize, early interaction, reanimate, faithless looting. We're in the same kind of position we were before. Let's see. So I will begin the game with 7 cards in. I think Doomsday used to play Wasteland. I don't think I care whether or not they do now. I don't think they do now. But I think they used to. I can't remember. But either way, leading on a Thoughtseize seems before. The Dark Rituals are out. We don't give a shit about that card. Force and Daze. Daze is super brutal. Like, we get our Faithless Looting Days, that's going to be terrible. Force of Will, I don't care if they uh, force pitching a Ponder. That seems like a super win. 2 Ponders is pretty brutal. They got 1 land, so I think it's between Ponder and Daze. And I think I end up taking the Ponder here, so I'll have to see how it plays out. Ended up taking a Daze. Oh my god. That's either big brained or small brained. I don't know. We'll see. I think Daze is a sign of like I only have 1 land. Like counter the spell I cast next, you know? Who knows? They immediately hit up the Ponder as they should. Island Ponder Keep, etc., etc. Somebody should put that on a t-shirt. Anyway. Immediately draw the land, never punt. Go ahead and slam that out. They chose not to shuffle in their Ponder, so they kept something that they wanted or that they found on top. Doomsday absolutely plays surgical extraction these days, so that's probably what they kept. And force pitching Ponder here is super hard play. So we're not dead in the water yet because we're gonna Dark Writ next turn. Dark Writ flashback Faithless Looting. So we're not dead. That's we're still in a totally fine position. And they land go, which means they pondered something and land to the top. We're gonna go ahead, flashback this Faithless Looting. We're gonna filter out. Not playing out the scrub land at all. I don't care about it. We have 1 mana floating, so we're still playing around Daze. And we drew into the nuts, I believe it's called. The nuts in quotes. Scrubland is an absolute banger for our sideboard. This can cast this card called Silence, which is really good against Doomsday. It's nearly impossible for Doomsday to win when you cast Silence most of the time. So Animate Dead and Faithless Looting are kind of 2 easy cards to drop. I don't think I do that. And that's why I'm doing a VOD review here. Oh, that's immediately what I do. I am better. See, I like to tell people I'm not awful, I'm just bad. And other players aren't bad, they're good. And then some players aren't good, they're so I'm somewhere on that list. Damn it. Immediately get punished, so our opponent kept Force and Blue card off their Ponder. Force pitching Brainstorm, which is like a 50 for 1. We'll take it. And then at the end of the turn, they fetched their off of their fetch land and shuffled their library. Cast Brainstorm, which is a great card. Oh, look at that. And then they cast Dark Ritual. Oh man, they Doomsday. What are the odds? So now we're totally dead in the water. Slight note, if it matters, whenever somebody casts a Doomsday, always check it out. Check out the pile. Right here, they have 1 surgical. So we know they have some amount of surgicals, but just keep that in mind. You're playing against your Doomsday opponent, search library or their exile or whatever for surgicals. We are so boned. It's not even funny. They do have to pass because all they have in hand is like 1. They have no cards in hand anymore. So they brainstormed away 1 Dark Ritual. They passed 5 cards in library. Yeah. So we're totally boned. I think we technically have 1 out. Of note, if I had of Bend Animate Dead instead of Faithless Looting, then I would be able to cast Faithless Looting here. But it doesn't matter because we top deck our best card in the whole deck. Easily the best card we have. Our opponent does this thing that he is unbound into Edge of Autumn. He has 1 card in library left. We're going to go ahead and respond to the cycle trigger on the stack by casting this card called Silence. Go ahead and draw your card though. And then that pass is the end of the game. So we won there. We got him by getting super lucky. So I don't think we needed this anime dead. Probably should have kept Faithless Looting instead, and then could have um, gotten more through our deck. Which after this next match, I'll go over the new game plan for Doomsday. All right, we're back. Round 3. No changes to sideboard. Keeping it how it is. Why mess with perfection? We're on the draw versus really fast combo deck. But we do have super awesome hand here. Yeah, we're definitely going to keep. You know, if Bosch and Roll gets Island Ponder Keep, we should be able to like have one for Reanimator. It should be like Land, Dark Writ, and Tomb Exhume or something. I don't know. That's what I'm gonna say. That's gonna be the Legacy Brew Pub. Everybody's gonna be seeing that. Land and Tomb Exhume, go. Whatever. So they UC go. We draw Chancellor as the first turn of the game. You know, super awesome card. Happy to see you, Chancellor of the Annex. You might be thinking like go to discard Chancellor. That's terrible. Like they can win out of nowhere. We're gonna have to like Lotus Petal and Silence coming out or having the ability to cast Silence. That's on this docket. So it play is only Thoughtseize. Thoughtseize Lotus Petal go. That's our only option. Cast the Petal first, just play around days. I actually don't. I would like if they daze Thoughtseize, I wouldn't crack Petal, but I would play it out so they think I would. Yep, and then they just reveal yet again. Probably the best hand in Magic. Personal Tutor, Force of Will, Force of Negation, Flusterstorm, Brainstorm. How are we ever gonna win? I don't know. Couldn't tell you. We have 1 Entomb. That's it. What are we supposed to do with 3 counterspells? I think the take here is gonna be between Force of Negation and Personal Tutor. Force of Negation exiles Faithless Looting, so I don't want that. Personal Tutor gets them probably a turn 3 Doomsday. But either one of those I think is a fine take. Definitely not Force, definitely not Brainstorm, definitely not Force. We end up taking Personal Tutor. Personal Tutor is such a good card. I think it's worth a lot of money now. Crazy. Hopefully we draw a land and we at least pretend to be able to put up a fight. Underground Sea, go. Nice, so we drew a Lotus Petal, that's kind of close. For some reason, I opt to unmask here. Mostly because reanimating a Chancellor is going to be as close to a game-ending action as we can get. Yeah, why not? You know, top deck Surgical. So good. Our opponent is just top decking with the gods. So once again, we're faced with a super difficult option. I think the only thing you take is Surgical. I mean, our whole game plan is somehow reanimate this, right? We have not many other axes of play. Take Surgical. They have 4 spells in hand. One of them is Brainstorm. 3 of them are counter. Mulling over Faithless Looting here, but playing out a Lotus Petal and then playing out Faithless Looting, that goes down quite a bit. Cards. So I'm just gonna keep. Looks like I just keep in hand. Doesn't matter. Counterspell it as they should. They didn't force a negation, which I think is a bit of a misplay because we could just like cast Dark Ritual and then we just traded Flusterstorm for Dark Writ. And I think that's pretty. Keep the Petal up for Silence. Now you can see that we are super dead in the water. Well, we are working through their cards. Grief is great. That'll be there for us later. Looks like they're stuck on 2 lands. With the way they're top decking, I wouldn't put, you know, put it past them to have they already. Imagine when we see our 3rd land, they're going to cast a Doomsday. Oh, look. They're casting Doomsday. Yay. Alright, so now we get to play some real Magic the Gathering, trading card game. So our opponent has constructed a pile of 5 cards. They have 4 cards in hand. 2 of them are counterspells. We just drew like the best runner you could ask for. Now, this is where it dawns on me how to beat Doomsday. So when you're going up against Doomsday, the whole Reanimator game plan, I think for the most part, is thrown out of the fucking window, and you are just on silence, like right? Like resolve silence, like create an opportunity where you can resolve silence and then resolve silence. And this is the situation, the exact situation where it dawns on me, where I have these cards in my hand. I was like, oh, why would I ever care about Chancellor the Annex ever in this matchup? I should never care about Chancellor the Annex ever in this matchup. Just have 2 silences and that's it. So this is where it's like I'm going to stop bringing in Chancellor, and I'm just going to take out Sarah's Emissary, Archon of Cruelty, leave in Thoughtseize, and then bring in the 2 silences. So that's my game plan, and this is where I figured it out. So we are now on Reanimating Grief, which all the Reanimator players who are like, Reanimating Grief never wins a game. Like, no, you're totally wrong. This is an instance where Reanimating Grief is the best potential for winning a game. Yeah, we're going to evoke this Grief. We're going to take, I don't know, literally anything that's some sort of force of spell. We end up taking Force of Negation. It does not matter. Then we reanimate Grief, and then we take another Force of spell. Okay, so now we get them down to just Brainstorm and LED in the library. So they can, Ideas Unbound, make a slow pile with a counter spell and like a Force and a blue card of some sort. And I did, while playing, check it out. And it doesn't look like they did. They had just the 1, 2. So these are the counter spells, the hard counters, not including Dazes that I saw. But like, I don't know how many Force of Negations they're playing. Like, obviously, since they have Pact and 2 Force of Negations, like they could have had a million billion things. You know? Like, really, who knows? So it's really hard. But like, this is gonna be now the game plan, and this is why, like, I think throwing reanimating creatures out of the window when playing Doomsday is the way to go. But they're going for it, so they cast their Ideas Unbound. This is where, like, it's like I could silence here, with that Ideas Unbound on the stack, and they could draw, like, because Ideas Unbound, you draw 3 cards. One of them could be like Force blue card, and then you just need, like, I don't know, a million things. They could have cast their LED, blue, cast Ideas Unbound, Ideas Unbound on the stack, crack LED, 3 blue, draw 3 cards, you know, one of them Force Counterspell and Thassa's Oracle, and then cast Thassa's Oracle with Force Counterspell up, and that would have won them game while putting something bad on the stack. But I don't know how good our opponent is. So I let all this resolve. And then they just pass the turn with this card, triggered or delayed ability, and then discard their hand. So, like, our opponent totally messed up. But that's how I snuck out this one win against the Tendrils player, who isn't bad, actually. He's not bad. But anyway, wasn't good enough to win that game. Let's mosey on to game two. All right, we're back with round number two. We have probably the best hand in Magic. Oh, right there. This on we're on the draw and going to discard with Gristlebrand is a sweet play. Looks like I saw that. That's nice. If you're ever wondering, going to discard is only worth it if you're on the draw. Never ever do it play. I drew a grief, which means we get to do all of this on turn one, kind of with impunity, depending on what we see here. I love grief. It being a creature spell, bones like force negation. It's so good. They kept. I actually don't know. I don't know what this deck is. It's like kind of affinity ish with White Splash. None of this matters. But I do want to cast Exhume, so when I get Gristlebrand back, I can draw 14 and just put them in the dirt. So I'm going to take Walking Ballista. That way they get nothing. Like if you take Aethersworn Canonist, you're not going to be able to cast spells. I do want to prioritize casting Exhume here. So we're going to put the old Walk Ball into the graveyard. We're going to do the whole thing. Do the stuff. Like when I revealed this to my opponent, I wonder if they think about conceding. Don't concede. By the way, it's still turn one and I haven't played a land. But what if I just draw 14 cards? This card, first 7 has lands, spells. I'm going to draw more cards. Now with Animate Deads, I can just start stripping their hand. I don't know what they're on. Sideboarding should still be pretty easy. We're going to leave them with Ancient Tomb and Canonist. Neither of which they can't cast any Canonist and then he just concedes. Sometimes it be like that. Being a Reanimator streamer, sometimes your streams are pretty quick. I get a lot of people asking, how do you side for Affinity or 8cast, whatever you want to call it. I bring out all the Thoughtseizes because they're just too slow. And it doesn't matter either way because depending on what they're looking for, like they play Mishra's Bauble and Urza's Bauble. So depending on what they want in their hand and when they want it, determines when they crack those. So if they have a blue card or a force and they want a blue card, they crack those on their turn. They go to your upkeep, draw those cards. Let's say they don't care about what you're going to do. They'll crack those on your turn after you've resolved your Thoughtseize effects. Then they'll just draw whatever they need to win or lock you out. Show and tell is too slow. A lot of people think about it. It's not good. Wear and Tear is okay. You can bring it in because they play Urza Saga. I don't think you need to though. Like Serenity, no good. And then we bring in 2 Serenity and 2 Echoing Truth. Echoing Truth is because we saw that Emery. Gonna be great at banging Emery. So that's my sideboard plan against 8cast. I think it's pretty good. This hand's pretty good. Sometimes though, I'll ship them if I think that I really should lean into Serenity. Like Serenity's in there, and I might draw it. I might not. I don't know. I don't care. I can cast Serenity if I could draw it. I can also Faithless Loot into an Archon and then cast it right away. This hand isn't bad. It's got some play. It's got some slow play. It's got some fast play. It's all around a pretty good hand. Turn 1 Emery is frightening. Frightening as a Reanimator. And they bend 2 Chalices, Esper Sentinel, and Ancient Tomb. This is like one of those rare times where if they had gone Chalice on 1, and I always say this, if they go Chalice on 1, we just go to discard, bend this, and then we just ride it to victory. Like none of these things are Chalice on oneable. Like, what are you trying to hurt here? I don't think it's good. Some affinity players do it. I don't I don't think it's good. Um, By the way, they're kind of gonna get punished here. If they just went Emery go with no force of will, they're totally screwed. Um, but we'll see. They let us resolve a dark ritual, and then they just let us resolve Animate Dead. So their whole strategy was turn one Emery. Obviously, not very good. And if you think typically winning on turn one Archon of Cruelty is good enough, it usually isn't, but I don't know. That's a pretty wicked 2-for-1. They also are playing Wasteland in this Affinity deck, which I don't get that. Let's go ahead and bin cards that don't. So the reason I grieve here is because I was like, there's no way they're just gonna turn one Emery and then go without like a Brazen Borrower or Aether Spellbomb or something, right? There's no way you just go Emery go. That's exactly what they did. They had a Flusterstorm here. Not, I don't know why they didn't cast it at some point just to like try. They didn't try. They did not at all. So I just took the thing that draws 2 cards. It was pretty much in the bags. Almost nothing they can. Oh, you know what they could do? They could cast Chalice on one. That's why I don't think it's a good card against Reanimator. But I'm not going to tell Affinity players that. They can think whatever they want. Drawing 2 Dark Rits is like bad, but they just scoop it up. Very easy match usually. This one was a little bit easier than most, probably because he was playing that White Splash, and I still don't know what he was doing. Is Esper Sentinel, maybe some sort of hammer or something? I don't know. But either way, on to the next one. You'll have to let me know what you think about doing the VOD review. I actually really like it because it gives me an opportunity to realize my own mistakes, and then I get to talk through everything. But I don't know, like from the viewer standpoint, how it is. So I'll record it, I'll put it out there, and then you give me your feedback. Um, we're looking at a turn one Gristle or a turn two Gristlebrand. This one's kind of cool because we're gonna play out our land, and if we draw a black card, then we get to unmask, we get to Thoughtseize ourselves, and we get to cash in on the Reanimator. So if we draw a black card, we're in business, and this is why if you watch my state of the Reanimator, having a mostly black spell deck really good. So our odds of that are super, super good. Um, these high odds is what makes Reanimator so good. Our opponent mulligans to 6. I guess that sucks to be them. I'll just go ahead and draw a land. That sucks. Land cleanup Gristlebrand. 2 Thoughtseizes potentially. Now we're cooking. Now we're cooking with Grisco. Oh my god. They got 5 cards. We have 2 Thoughtseize effects. I'm going to. I always like to put Grief in the graveyard over on Mask because you can reanimate Grief. And that's what I'm going to choose to do here. I don't know why I fetched a bait. Like, honestly, this is like getting more and more to a point where every little decision matters. If I had played a Badlands and they spent a turn wastelanding me, they get pretty far behind. Sure, that cuts me off of my 2-mana reanimate spells, but them not going ahead from this point feels real good. But whatever. I'm also not going to run out my only reanimate spell without checking first. And we're playing some sort of bug control. Kind of a tough decision here. I don't think you ever cast him to Turok versus Reanimator. Um, it just seems like it would help me more than you. Force of Negation seems like a really good take. Obviously, Ponder's also good. Snappy's good. Snapcaster is great. And the power creep kind of sucks because you used to be able to reanimate Snapcaster, and then you could like snap like other reanimates or stuff like that. Used to be really cool. Snap into them. You don't really get that much these days. Yeah, we're just gonna take Force of Negation here. At least be able to resolve the spells we want to. We still get a nice little brief on mask going. If they Thoughtseize us here, we're pretty boned, but I don't know if they play main deck Thoughtseize. You gotta imagine they do, right? Ponder is their best bet by a mile. They chose to shuffle off a Ponder. That's and then they're gonna do black black him to Turok. So we have super good odds not banning this soul reanimation, right? The 1 in 6 odds. Please. Yes. 2 lands. Never not punished. Definitely check in with brief first 100% of the time. So we see another snap and another him and a wasteland still. Go ahead and take the snap. Brings him down to 2 cards in hand. We're gonna do the thing. I am at 9 life, so I don't know if they're playing like a splash red bolt kind of thing. Like they probably are playing sudden edicts for sure. That's kind of annoying that they hit my headlands there, but I also feel like they're in a losing position. If anything, like that hurts them a lot more than it helps them. Also, they're playing like a fair deck, and Bristlebrand beats fair decks, eats up on it. Reanimating a Snapcaster. That's still something I really want to do. I guess I'll play this land. Also, I just think that life from the loam, like against Gristlebrand, is also a bad idea. Whatever. And then we know their hand is just him and 3 lands, so I'm gonna go ahead and put on the smackdown. Yeah, what would you grab? There's Emissary an instant. Archon to close out the game. You gotta go Archon. But instead I got Faithless Looting. Oh, it's because I didn't want to play Reanimate. I actually know how to play the game. There we go. Still go Archon though. Go down to 1 life, back up. I was looking for more reanimation. And now we beat pretty much everything they can do. And they can see there. I think that Entomb Faithless Looting line was pretty bad. Should have just got Archon again. I purposefully like him to Turok myself. Like an idiot. Don't do that. That's why I do this VOD review. Alright. For sideboarding, we took out these 3 cards. I took out 2 Thoughtseizes and 1 Unmask because Unmask is a 2-for-1. I didn't think that would be too good against the fair deck that's trying to 2-for-1 me. Took out the Thoughtseizes because I brought in 3 Show and Tell and 1 Chancellor of the NX. 1 Chancellor can be really good. It's bad against Sudden Edict though, so like, you know, think about that when you decide to sideboard. But these cards are generally bad. Take those out. For sure bringing in Show and Tell. Like, we saw green, so I don't know if they have Endurance. We saw black, so they have Surgicals for sure. Like, they're going ham on... It's basically an anti-Reanimator deck We like really got to be on the ball to even stand a chance. We open up our 7, and it looks really pretty. I really don't think that this kind of hand wins. It does have like these cards cast Show and Tell right here, and these cards are all real good. We saw Wasteland. Badlands is off the menu for a bit. We got Unmasked, so we can peek. We have Faithless Looting, so we can loot, which also means we got to play Badlands out, which is weak. So this is kind of a medium weak hand. I decided to go down. I was kind of not punished. Into this hand. This hand's really not bad, but man, it's tough too. We got 2 lands, which is good for Show and Tell. Also good for Faithless Looting and Ben and Gristlebrand. So it plays on 2 different axes, right? If they thought sees us, let's say like we're gonna bend this. So if they thought sees us, they can take either Show and Tell or Faithless Looting or Animate Dead, and they cut off one axis of winning, but not the other. So this hand's kind of thought sees resistant, kind of has some play to it, so we're gonna keep it. I do end up bottoming one Show and Tell, thinking about it. Oh, no, I didn't. I bottomed the Faithless Looting. I just went all in on Show and Tell. I don't know why. I just thought they would be more all in on Thoughtseize. Totally the wrong read though. Unmask is kind of cute. So that opens up our Show and Tell a little bit later. I do think bringing in Show and Tells is the best bet though. Baleful Strix, like the bane of our existence. God, that card is so difficult. Casting Unmask here, I don't think is a good idea. I mostly do it because I need to check and see if Wasteland is in their hand to see if I can play Wasteland out or if I have to palm Wasteland until I get an opening. So that being said, gotta check for the waste. They do have an amazing hand. I don't care about Witherbloom Command at all. I don't know why you would keep that in versus us. Whatever. Sudden Edict is tough. Snapcaster Mage is tough. Still, they have 4 lands, so they can do the whole business. They do have Wastelands, so we can't play out our Badlands. Like, this is anti-Reanimator deck. I don't know how we're ever gonna beat it. Take the Snapcaster because reanimating Snapcaster always just something I want to do. I say that every time I come up against it. It's like the one thing I want in life. They cast Witherbloom Command. Really not what you want to be doing though. So we just need to draw any land. We will be able to draw 14 cards. And we're immediately not punished. Probably should have fetched up a basic there because I know that they're going to be on that Wasteland plan. But I think that they're going to prioritize taking Badlands over Underground Sea, and they don't know that we got 2 Show and Tells, so fuck them. Always putting in Gristlebrand, never not caring about whatever. They put in a land. Sudden Edict that we know about. So draw 7, that on the stack, they cast Sudden Edict. So you can't activate it again. You can if you're playing in real life. You can activate Gristlebrand, hold priority, and activate him again. That stops Sudden Edict ability, split second. Oh yeah, I was like, what am I doing? But I didn't want to go down to 2 because they for sure have Baleful Strix in, and like that does count more than I would like. They also have this card Witherbloom Command in their hand, so they have like a win condition right here. So yes, okay, I'll choose my legal target, and then I'm showing a handful of just stuff. So Show and Tell Emissary is still good. Entomb, Exhume, Archon of Cruelty is still good. This Wasteland is coming in, so that's also brutal. Getting rid of their Witherbloom is good. There's a lot of good options. Uh, I think passing and then bending Archon are best. But I bend Sarah's Emissary. Ponder. Ponder, no shuffle. Wasteland are red source. I still don't think that's a good idea, but like I guess I see. So they ponder no shuffle, and they kept up 3 mana, which to me seems like a force negation. Like I don't know what else you would be doing with your life. I think here I start to lose track, just like I'm doing here as I'm narrating. This is really hard magic for me to comprehend. Um, I do think Entomb, like grief pitching Entomb is the best bet. I don't know what I do. I grief pitching another grief. I don't. That I don't think is a good idea. Um, Mostly because like I have the Faithless Looting in hand and no way to cast it. Totes, same boat. I don't think I'm getting a 3 mana or the ability to use this Exhume anytime soon. So starting to lose um, sight here a bit. They take a Veil Restricts and a Oof. Take the Collector Oof just in case I draw Settle. I think that's fine. That also makes this Archon of Cruelty not bad. I exhume. What am I exhuming? Bringing back Sarah's Emissary creature. So Sarah's Emissary on instance. So that cuts off Sudden Edict. They do have Surgical here in the graveyard. They brought back Snapcaster Mage, so like this whole sequence could have been done a lot better. I'm still not positive on the best way to do it yet. And they flashback Brainstorm. They should have just surgicaled like Gristlebrand would have been the best thing to do there. I don't know why they didn't. Yeah, this whole sequence that I'm performing here, I just start losing track of how to win the game. And do bear in mind, I've activated Gristlebrand once. The victory should almost be assured, but I find a way to snatch defeat. And this Witherbloom command, like which I hate, is strangely relevant now. What the heck? They do make me lose too. They wasteland me off. See, like now things are starting to get pretty cloudy. And if I had a bend Gristle or bend Archon, my life total would be better, and I would have gone up a card. Totally messed that whole interaction. If I had held on to the Exhume, like I still would be good. Him. I don't know why you keep him in. This is game 2. Sure, whatever. Just put the 2 cards that matter most in my graveyard into my graveyard and call that a good idea. That's why people don't play him these days. Not that it matters. And I definitely should have put Sarah's on Creature, not Instant. But I was just thinking about the Snap Sudden Edict, and I just like lost sight. I definitely shouldn't have done all the things that I did. So, yeah, I think for a second about blocking, but either way, they still have 3 damage coming through, and that's lethal. So yeah, I end up losing this one due to misplaying there. Like I should have been Archon. I should have kept these 2 in hand, and I didn't do that. Shouldn't have exhumed. Should have done so much. Yeah, what do? It's like these kinds of games where you're playing real Magic it really hurts my brains. So I'm gonna go ahead and scoop her up, and we're gonna go to the next round, your next match. All right, back for round 3. So we still got Thoughtseize on Mad Scout, but I put back the Chancellor. So and I put back 1 Show and Tell. So I thought the show and tell overall wasn't bad, but I could see that they were prioritizing the wastelands and wasting me due to the previous two games. Like I knew I needed to also kind of play around that, and then um, they have surgicals, so like I don't want to cut down too many effects to bring out. I didn't want to cut down too many thought seizes, so like we still have to clear surgical from their hand. So all when in doubt, sideboard light. Always sideboard lights. Took two cards in, brought two cards out. That was a no lander, instant pitch. Also a no lander, instant pitch, which against a deck that presumably runs Thoughtseize is terrible. But we can still go down the 5 comfortably, as we do immediately. Darkrit, Entomb, Exhume, Gristlebrand. So this, I, in these cases, I often prioritize keeping the 1 mana spells over the 2 mana spells. So you might think, like, oh, Exhume, so good. Like, I don't lose any life. I could draw 14 cards. You're probably right, but I also like to be able to cast my spells. So this way, if we put back these two, we can get a basic swamp here, and we're just in business. But I'm thinking about putting back. I think these two are the obvious bins. Oh, I think those two are the obvious bins. So we beat Counterspell with 2. We have Entomb and Exhume, so we have the ability, I should say, to win versus like an Endurance, which we still don't know if they have. Getting rid of Faithless Looting is an obvious, like that one's gone. Bristlebrand's a black card. Think that we don't keep that. They're, just for fun. What if we entertain? I don't know. I think these two are the only clear choices. That's what I think. Let's see what I do though. Nope. God damn. This is why I do it, folks. So I got rid of the Exhume and whatever the other card. I don't even remember. Yeah. So put myself in hell of a spot. I always have trouble playing this match. We can Faithless Loot, banning Gristlebrand, and keeping one other card. And then we can go to Reanimate it. And we would still be left over with Entomb Mystery card. Seems we can just pass. We haven't seen Days, so we can still probably resolve either Faithless or Entomb. I think passing and maybe doing like an upkeep Entomb is good, or an end step Entomb. Something like that might be good. But then this way we get to use both our Entomb and our Faithless Looting either way. So this isn't terrible. It loses to some things, that's for sure. Force Pitching Ponder, that's really good for us. Alright, so we can still get in the money. Bending both of these creatures is huge, so God, getting another creature off the top is so big. Now we get to, if they have Surgical in hand, we still get to have some play. That's real good. I think you even cast the Dark Ritual first. I think that's just strictly better. I definitely should have done that. If they opt to counter the Dark Ritual, it's the same as countering the Reanimate, except you have Reanimate in your hand to counter the Dark Ritual. So definitely fucked up there. This hand is a handful of cards, that's for sure. Thoughtseize is functionally useless now. 2 Entombs is great. Bristlebrand, Show and Tell is really good. That Thoughtseize worthless. Probably been the Dark Ritual though. Like, I still want the ability to Thoughtseize. I think I messed up there too. Let's see what happens. Bricks suck. Now you just go up to 10 life, and this Sarah's Emissary is chilling here. I think this might actually be a good time to do the Dark Rit Entomb Faithless Looting, or Dark Rit Faithless Looting Flashback. Hope to find an enemy dead, but then just draw it off the top like a boss. Arcana Cruelty is really good. They must have drawn that Force Negation for turn. I have to gain 7 life here and lose the Gristlebrand. This puts it back in the yard, so it's not terrible for me still. And they're on their Wasteland shenanigans again. God. Am I just going to incidentally win this game? Oh. Once again, tons of options. We can show and tell in Gristlebrand, which I think is what I should have done. If I'm not doing it, this is what I should have done. I can't think of anything that they put in that I care about. All right. They put in a land. Immediately going down a 3, as you should. They reveal 2 lands, Island and Misty. We might get lucky and get. We might dodge a lot of stuff. We get an attack trigger. Attack stuff we do. Alright, since we got the attack step, that's nail and coffin. Yeah, there's nothing they can do now. But I did stumble around quite a bit on this one. This is one of those games where it's like I did my best to lose. And then I managed to win. So learn from my mistakes. This is this kind of bug matchup is where like your magic skill is tested, and you can definitely tell I still got a lot of learning to do. But yeah, drop a comment. Tell me what you think about the VOD review.